Culture broadcast. Today we'll be talking about Latin America's civilization, including the Inca and the Aztec tribes. Today, our guests will include Amanda Hester and Ali Brambold. You'll get to meet them after these messages. Welcome back. Now you get to meet Ali Brambold, who studied at the Princeton University. Here she is.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's an honor.
Alrighty, well, it's good to be here.
How was studying at Princeton University?
It was very good. I got my master's degree and I went there for 6 years. It was not easy at all, but I now am very happy as a master of the Incan culture. So
Wow.
very, very glad to be done with college, but ready to move on, for sure.
That's impressive. Now, didn't you study at the Center for Collaborative History?
I did, in fact, and it was a very nice college. We had some quirky professors, but it was a very nice learning environment, for sure.
I bet. Now for our next guest, Amanda Hester, who lived in Mexico for 7 years to study Aztec culture.
Oh,
Nice to have you
welcome.
here. How was it living in Mexico?
It was good. It was fun. I learned to speak Spanish, and yeah, it was
That's
great.
cool. Isn't Mexico City the modern-day Tenochtitlan?
Yes, it is. The Spanish destroyed it whenever they took over, the Aztec cultures, but now it's Mexico City.
We'll talk more about this after these messages.
Woo.
Have you ever wanted to learn a dead ancient language? Well, today is your lucky day. You can learn the Aztec tribal language and buy Rosetta Rock right now for $29.99. If you call in the next 5 minutes, you can get the Inca language for free. But call now, your time is running out.
Welcome back. Today we'll be focusing on the differences between the Inca and Aztec political systems, the similarities of their religious beliefs, and also the differences of their social institutions. Do you all want to talk about the differences in their political system?
Absolutely, okay. So the Incas were very different from the Aztec political system because the Incas ruled through a great Inca, so to speak, and they were very centralized in their government, and they also formed a bureaucracy through their 4 provinces.
Aztec politics were very militaristic in nature, and everything was motivated by their religious beliefs. So basically, they would go around and would conquer all the different cities around them to get humans for sacrifice. And eventually, it was all made up into 7 different calpulli, with Tenochtitlan as the capital of the Aztec city.
And also, the Incas also weren't very expansive. Their empire entirely expanded from Chile to North Argentina to Colombia. So they weren't meant for conquering, but they ruled in a centralized rule. Inheritance. The political power went to the heir, and the possessions went to all the other people in the family.
Okay. The way the Aztec inheritance worked is that it's just like modern day inheritance where everything would go to the oldest person, but in the Aztec society, women were not allowed to inherit actual possessions and things, but they could inherit the right of like being a slave or having or the debt of the family. So everything in the Aztec society would go to the oldest male family member whenever the oldest person died. So.
Are you ever stressed out by school and work and just need a free, easy getaway? Well, here's your chance. Fly on down to Mexico and visit the ancient ruins of the Aztec tribal. Then hop on over to South America and visit the Inca ruins and have fun, just relax and sit your feet up. If you're interested, call 1-800-AZTECS-RULE or email us at incasarethebomb.com. And we're back. And we're going to our next discussion, which was the Inca and the Aztecs religions. The Aztecs and Incas were similar in their religious beliefs due to their animistic and their polytheistic beliefs.
Okay, so both the Aztec and the Inca religions were polytheistic, and the Aztecs had more than 120 different gods or deities, each with a feminine form. And the Aztecs focused on 2 different gods the most. They had a patron god for Tenochtitlan and the agriculture god. So, yes. Yeah.
The Incas also focused on one major god, which was the sun god, which was considered their highest being because it controlled all aspects of their life. And they created the Temple of the Sun, which was their huaca, which is a holy shrine, which was the place, and it was centered around Cusco, where it was their place where their religion was based, and it was their holy place of their religion.
The Aztecs built the Temple of Tenochtitlan, which was dedicated to their patron god and the god of agriculture. And that was their big temple that everyone thinks of when they think of the Aztec religion. So they also rewrote history to where the Mexico, which were the Aztec and the Central American people, to where they were the chosen ones to serve their gods. So,
and the Incas also believed they were the sun god's representative of people on Earth. So they both of our religions also believed they were chosen to represent something here on Earth.
And so they also both had sacrificial things that they did. The Aztecs were really, really big on human sacrifice. Like, that was their motivation for everything they did. They had to go find more human sacrifices. So.
The Incas also did sacrifices, not necessarily human sacrifices, but they did participate in sacrifices to their gods because their gods were very important to them.
Now we're back to our last and final discussion about the Inca and Aztec social institutions. The Aztecs and Incas were different in their social institutions due to their varying social definition and their differing hierarchy.
Okay, now the Incas were separated into 4 different provinces that were ruled by governors.
Were separated into 7 Calpuli, which were different family clans which controlled each one.
Now the Incas also, their prime ruler was considered to be a god, so he was very, very high up on the social realm.
The Aztec ruler, while it was one whole god, I said god. Oops. Okay. The Aztec ruler, while it was one supreme ruler, he had a prime minister which would help advise him in all his different decisions, including the politics and government.
Now socially, the Incas used the use of labor turns called mita, so everybody contributed to benefit society.
The Aztecs had a certain social class, which was the workers, instead of a mita, or certain everyone works. It was just one class.
Now in the little expansion the Incas did, they used what was called a mitmac, which was colonists, and they kind of used that to expand in the little expansion that they had to discover more social realm to rule.
The Aztecs just basically conquered every single small empire that they could, since they were very militaristic in nature. And then they ended up allying with 2 other larger empires later to form a 3-way alliance.
And the Incas, their major gap was between the nobles and the commoners, not necessarily between the supreme ruler, who was considered also a god, as I previously mentioned, but there was a huge gap between nobles and the commoners.
And just like the Incas, the Aztec society, the nobles and the warriors were the highest ranking out of everyone, even though they had a high rate of dying usually.
And after this, we will conclude.
Welcome back. As a conclusion to this show, today we focused on the differences of the Aztec and Inca political systems, the similarities of their religion beliefs, and the differences of their social institutions.
At the bottom of the screen, you can see Incan and Aztec timelines, which show major events that happened during both of the empires.
Thank you for having us. We had a great time.
Yeah. Glad to talk about it all. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week, join us as we talk about the Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire.
It was a long time there, for 6 years, I think. And it was, oh crap. Guys, how many years?
Right here.
This is the one.
We're doing it.
Okay.
No, because after you get everything fixed, then one of us is just gonna. Should I just start?
Just roll it, buddy.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so they're gonna take.
Oh my gosh.
So I say that they had
Fully. Like, they were broke. They were united but broken up at the same time.
So they were united
People
by their
love that kind of fluff.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
feel like
and that was dang it, what's the word? I forgot the word.
When you start back over, start from where you started.
Where I started, yeah.
now it's just awkward. Okay.